When a TV network, for whatever reason, has little or no faith in a program, they move that show into what has become known as the Friday night death slot. Now, this isn't every program. Family programs are usually safe, but this is for the programs that would normally be aimed at the coveted 18 to 34-year-old demographic. The demo advertisers love the most. The thing is, on Friday nights, most 18 to 34-year-olds are at the bar, or on dates, or generally doing something away from the television. Meanwhile, the juggernaut TGIF block on ABC succeeded because of a combination of things. First, all the programs were aimed at a family demo. So shows like Step by Step were something the whole family could watch because they were usually home on a Friday night. They were also cheap to produce. A half-hour-long sitcom could succeed for years because there were more than enough advertisers who were happy to put their diaper or kids' school supply ads in front of millions of families. On that note, if a network had no faith in a show aimed at an older demo, or one of the executives wanted it gone for some reason, they would place it in the Friday night death slot, where it would quickly drop dead. Here's 5 shows the network killed in the Friday night death slot. Dark Angel. Dark Angel had a lot going for it, mainly that it was created by James Cameron, which was a huge deal at the time. This was the first TV program he produced, not too long after he made the highest-grossing film of all time. It starred Jessica Alba in her big breakout role, which they promoted heavily by repeatedly showing her getting out of the pool. The series was about Max, a genetically enhanced super soldier who escaped from a military base as a child and now lives in the Space Needle in Seattle, working as a bike messenger. Part of her genetic enhancement is that she was blended with cat DNA, which helps her during the night when she's a cat burglar. Although sometimes she also has to use the litter box. Alright, I made that part up. There is an episode where she goes into heat, though. She lives in a post-apocalyptic world. There was an EMP pulse that shut down most of the technology, so while computers and whatnot are around, they're rare and mostly owned by the government. Max teams up with a hacker and is trying to find others of her kind who have escaped from the military base. The show premiered on October 3rd, 2000. The pilot did incredibly well, reaching 17.4 million viewers. For the first season, the show was on Tuesday nights. It was doing well views-wise and won several awards, although the show was expensive to make, and so someone involved decided things needed to change. For season 2, they moved it to Friday. Beyond just the new time slot, the show had a major retooling. Season 1 focused on Max being a bike messenger in a post-pulse Seattle. Season 2 had an almost entirely new cast set in the woods because it cost significantly less to film there than in the city. Max meets 2 genetically enhanced brothers, played by a then-unknown Jensen Ackles. With the new time slot, along with the massive changes in the direction for the series, the ratings plummeted. There were rumors swirling that the head of Fox at the time hated the sci-fi genre, and he was the one who placed it here to die. Dark Angel was canceled with 2 seasons and 43 episodes. The last episode aired May 3rd, 2002. Even with all the changes, it's possible the show could have continued if it stayed on its original time slot. However, with much of its audience not being around on Friday nights, and DVR not really being a widespread thing yet, the show just didn't have the audience to continue. Later that year, in November of 2002, the Dark Angel game was released. It did a good job of capturing the essence of the show, but some found the repetition boring. I thought it was fun. There were 3 Dark Angel novels published after the cancellation. The first was a prequel, and then 2 that picked up right where the series ended. Fox released both seasons on DVD, but they're now out of print. This series is not available for streaming. It's on YouTube. Kinda. It's that picture-in-picture style to try to avoid being taken down. Disney now owns the show, so you think they'd put it up on Disney+, but why would they do something that people want? Fastlane. Fastlane was a series that was made more or less to try and capitalize on the success of the Fast and the Furious franchise. I guess you could say it was Fast and the Furious at home. Although it also had buddy cop elements. The show was about 2 cops who are forced to become partners by a sexy lieutenant. They go undercover in a super-secret division of the LAPD to infiltrate the criminal underworld of Los Angeles. The draw was that whatever was seized in their arrests, they could use for future busts. So they had a place called the Candy Store, which was full of expensive cars, expensive items, and whatever else they needed to try to blend in with the crooks. The show starred a pre-Twilight Peter Facinelli, a post-MTV Bill Bellamy, and a post-Saved by the Bell in 90210 Tiffany Amber Thiessen. The series premiered September 18, 2002 on Fox. The show premiered on a Wednesday, which is where it stayed for the first 9 episodes. Then, after returning from the holiday break, the show was moved to Friday on January 10, 2003. It remained on Friday for the rest of the season, with ratings going down each week. The final episode aired April 25, 2003. The show lasted for 1 season with 22 episodes. G4 picked up the show for syndication and ran with it for quite some time after that. The series was released on DVD in 2008. However, due to rights issues, they had to change nearly all the songs on the soundtrack. Also, for some odd reason, even though the show was shot 16:9 widescreen, the DVD was cropped 4:3 pan and scan. So the DVD versions are actually worse than the original broadcast versions. The show is available to stream on Tubi, but unfortunately, it's the cropped DVD version with the different soundtrack. Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. In the late 2000s, Warner Brothers was working on their huge-budgeted 4th entry in the Terminator series, Terminator Salvation. This was originally meant to start a new trilogy that would be all about the future war, as opposed to the previous entries that were about time travelers trying to stop the war from ever happening. The TV series was meant to be a prequel of sorts that takes place after the events of T2. The show starred Lena Headey as Sarah and Thomas Dekker as John. Summer Glau also plays a reprogrammed Terminator that helps the duo. The show was greenlit in 2007 for a 13-episode season, but that was cut short due to the WGA writer's strike, and the number was reduced to 9. The series premiered on January 13th, 2008 on Fox. I'm sensing a theme here. The show was a mid-series replacement, and while it got tons of positive reviews, the network was unsure what to do with the show. Season 2 was greenlit for a full 22 episodes. The series was on Monday nights, where it continued until December 15th. When it returned after the mid-season break, they dumped it on Fridays, starting February 13th, 2009. They ran the last 9 episodes, then canceled the series. The last episode aired April 10th, 2009. Sci-Fi Channel acquired the rights to the show on April 7th, 2011. The series was released on DVD, and it was also released on Blu-ray. It's not available for streaming. It is available to purchase on video on demand on Amazon and YouTube, so it should come as no surprise that it's not available on YouTube regular. Reigns. At a time when police procedural shows like Law & Order and CSI were dominating, NBC put together a police procedural show that was both familiar and different. It was about Detective Reigns, played by Jeff Goldblum. After returning to work after a shootout that killed his partner, he's starting to have a series of mental breaks. In each episode, he hallucinates the victim or victims of the case he's working on, which help him to solve the case. The thing is, the audience doesn't know if he's seeing spirits or losing his mind, which they smartly never reveal. The show premiered March 15th, 2007 on NBC. The pilot had some big talent behind it. It was directed by Frank Darabont and written by Graham Yost. The series started on Thursday nights, but after a mere 2 episodes, they moved it to Friday on March 30th. The series lasted for its full run of 7 episodes, with the last one airing on April 27th, 2007. The show received good ratings, and Goldblum's acting was praised for the lead. He was able to elevate the material beyond the Crime of the Week format. However, the network instantly got cold feet and never gave the show a chance to find its audience before sending it to the Phantom Zone. The show was not released on DVD. It's not available for streaming, but it's on video on demand on Amazon. Aside from some clips, it's not on YouTube. Pushing Daisies. Pushing Daisies is a comedy drama created by Brian Fuller. It's about Ned, played by Lee Pace, a pie maker that has the ability to bring things back from the dead by touching them. The show revolves around him, his recently resurrected childhood crush Chuck, played by Anna Friel, his co-worker Olive, played by Kristen Chenoweth, and a private investigator, Emerson Codd, played by Chi McBride. The show is considered to be a spin-off of Fuller's other show, Dead Like Me. The show was a super quirky, weird series that was unlike so many other shows at the time. With the bright lighting, unique production design, and hyper-fast dialogue, it quickly developed a small but loyal cult following. Although at its core, it was a very dark, tragic tale about life and death. Each episode has voiceover narration from Jim Dale, giving the show a very intentional fairy tale vibe. The series premiered October 3rd, 2007 on ABC. The pilot was the most watched of the new series shows of that year. Much like the Sarah Connor Chronicles, the show was greenlit for a 13-episode season, but due to the WGA writer's strike, it was reduced to 9. The show aired on Wednesdays. For season 2, it stayed on Wednesdays for the first 10 episodes, then it went on a long hiatus, and when they returned, the show was moved to Friday. Fuller confirmed in November, months before they would return, that the show was canceled. So, May 30th, 2009, 5 months after the break, the show came back, and with the knowledge that the series was ending, the ratings plummeted. Fuller had hoped to either be able to wrap up the plot lines in a comic book or a movie sequel. The movie never happened, and to my knowledge, the comic never happened either. The full series was released on DVD and Blu-ray. The show's available to stream on HBO Max, or whatever they're calling themselves this week. You can buy the show on video on demand. Aside from some clips, it's not on YouTube. If you want to see the bonus 6th entry, please consider joining my Patreon. Beyond the bonus entry, you can also vote on future episodes. While it's a shame all of these shows were summarily given the boot by the network, at least this batch was allowed to air the full seasons. I've seen too many shows that were canceled, and then their last few episodes were never seen. Anyway, more shows to come. Stay tuned.
He can't take the chance.
Hey, what the hell are you doing? Ow! Touch my ass, man.